we think this is it. We just thought we'll call you in to say your goodbyes. Ooh. Okay. They said this is a long shot, but at Great Ormond Hospital, they have what's called the AMOUR machine. We've just run Great Ormond Hospital, and they say your boy qualifies to come. There's a machine that he gets hooked on that helps him, that breathes for him while his lungs heal. Oh, what I'm forgetting to tell you guys is the reason he was puffy and poofy is because his lungs were torn, they had bursted. This machine that was blowing, they had popped his lungs. That's why, so as the machine pushes the air inside him, the air is going to the body. It was going everywhere. That is why. So they said this machine will be able to breathe for him, will act as his lungs as his lungs heal. So we waited for the helicopter from Great Ormond Street. Even the waiting, we were told he is so delicate that he may not make it until they get here. So we just pray and pray and pray. So they prepped him. They said even him just getting onto the ambulance, the air ambulance, even him being transported to London, he may not make it. He's that unwell. Who didn't make? My boy made it. And as I was singing that, we bow down. His thing was straight. His thing was straight. As I was singing, we bow down and confess. His heart started beating. His heart started beating. And who says there's no God? A fool says in his heart, there is no God. So Great Ormond Street, the air ambulance can't take more than one parent. We negotiated that Mulapo comes or something, but they couldn't take the kids. Or did I go alone? Goodness. No, I think I went with Mulapo. Yeah, we negotiated. They were saying it's over thinking load, but they let us go. So we just left the kids just like that. We didn't even know what's happening. We just left the kids with people. There was not even thinking of what are we doing now with the kids. Kids were just left with people who were there. There were friends who were there. On our way there, we're organizing where kids can be taken to. The kids went to stay with Sarah, you know, our friend. We got to Great Ormond Hospital. They stayed with him. I can't remember for how long while they connected him to the ECMO. When they called us in, guys, I think I went alone the first time. When they called us in, when they called me in, oh, my boy looked normal. He looked normal. They had taken out the air out of him. They had put in the ECMO. So this thing it was put through here. It was running the blood and stuff, blood outside him and pumping blood outside and pumping the blood back in and so on and so forth. And he was looking at me. He was looking at me because in Cardiff he had just been sleeping the entire time, the 2 weeks. He was looking at me and he could see he wants to cry. He doesn't know what to do. The thing is in his nose. He can't, you know what I mean? There's no sound. He can't. He's like, I'm like, oh baby, I am here. I was so happy. I was crying. I was so happy. I was so happy. I was singing for him, you know. So they were telling us that They said that he should be okay. Like they haven't put anybody on it. The longest time they've put someone on it, it's 6 weeks. Was it 5 weeks? I can't remember. So the lungs should have healed by then, and they hope that's what will happen. Great Ormond Street was excellent. They were excellent. Okay? But L'Amour was so unwell. Every day you didn't know if he's gonna last. But it was such a beautiful time. I was there every day. They had accommodation as well for parents. You know, there was like some sort of, it's like a hotel kind of thing. Some really beautiful flats. In this hospital, guys, this is where you see how shallow this religion thing is. No one cared what you are, what you believe. We were all praying together. We had Muslims. We were all praying together for our children. Every child there was so poorly. Every child there was so poorly. They could die in the next minute. We were all friends. We were all sisters. We were all, you know, brothers and sisters. Nobody cared what race you were. Nobody cared where you're from. Nobody cared about your accent. Nobody cared. We are all here. We are together. We are one. We want our children to live. We want our children to survive. So I would sing for him every day. And L'Amour, every day they were trying out different things. His lung healed. They closed up. But as they closed up, which was the good news, they noticed there was actually a cyst inside the lung. The lung had gotten infected. They showed me this machine. They have this glue, this skin glue that they've used on skin, they've used on other things, but they've never used it on the lungs. But they asked me what I wanted. Like I said, please try that, because they said chances are, unfortunately, the cyst is gonna burst and he won't survive that. They can't see any way through this. These guys, the Gosh people, Great Ormond Hospital, Great Ormond Street Hospital, amazing, amazing, amazing professionals who are, they're passionate about life. Those guys would not let this boy die. I went through such ups and downs. Guys, L'Amour was there 10 weeks. No, 8. Because he was in 10 weeks altogether, ICU, 10 weeks altogether, because 2 weeks was in Cardiff. And my friends would come visit. Remember, there was a friend of mine who asked, don't you want to go home or something? And don't you feel like she felt for me, she thought I'd get depressed. But for me, no, I was having joy. That's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to be anywhere else. The last 4 weeks, Harley was brought to me from back home. They came on the train. They brought Harley to me. So I stayed with Harley. It was Harley and I and L'Amour. Mulapo was working. And then the last 2 weeks, it was the 4 of us. We got a family accommodation. We were there. I just had my jeans and trainers, you know. We just left. We didn't know, you know what I mean, the way we left Cardiff. And we couldn't go to my church. We couldn't go to our church, because we know our church. You cannot come to church wearing jeans. You cannot, I mean, it's different here in Australia, but you cannot come to church like wearing trainers. You do not even think about it, sadly. So we went to Hillsong, which was an hour's walk away, but it's a walk we enjoyed. Hillsong brought us so much healing, so much healing. Being there, we used to go every Sunday evening. Every Sunday we went to church. We could not go on Sabbath. We had no clothes. And we were not strong enough. We just couldn't go and be explaining our story. And there was no chaplaincy. There was no Adventist chaplain that came. There was no Adventist chaplain at all. There was lots of chaplains that came. There was numbers available for chaplains that come to Great Ormond Street if you need to talk to a pastor. There was no Adventist. Of course, I'm not saying each and every church was represented. But yeah, spoke to the chaplain. We were praying, every day praying, every day praying, every day praying and speaking life over my boy. I remember one time in the middle of the night, they called me. They say, "Mom, he is so unsettled. Can you please come sing for him? So sorry to wake you up." I'm like, "No, with pleasure." I went there. I started singing. The guy, he relaxed. I keep forgetting what they call them. You know, the ratings on the machine, the what's. You nurses will know, and medical people. They started going, he calmed down. So as a result, every time they called me, and nothing worked for him except for my singing. And you'd see him, even if he's sleeping, if he hears my voice, he'll open his eyes and they'll say, "Oh, yeah." I could see in his eyes that he's happy. I never got to see my son smile because he was in that thing, you know, sometimes then they change it from in here to the mouth. You know, he kept changing. He had things inside him. I'll stick pictures here. Oh, guys, to be honest, that was the most beautiful 8 weeks I had with my boy. Unfortunately, one night the inevitable happened. That night, I had seen how much he's struggling. They had taken him out to try and glue up his thing. They couldn't, and I could see that my boy is struggling. And for the first time, when I prayed, I said, "Lord Jesus," because I've been in that chapel praying out loud. I said, "Lord, I think it's okay. I know you have helped him here. I know he's alive because of me. I know you're keeping him alive because of me." Because I wasn't ready. I had been declaring life into him. Guys, we had been having visitors. People came from South Africa. We had people that came, friends who came to see us. We had a friend in Geneva. They came to London to see us at the hospital. People were praying. I said, "Lord, my boy has struggled. My boy is in pain. I can see it. And Lord, if, and only if, it's your will, it's okay. It's okay. But I do not want the devil to win this one, oh Lord. I do not want the devil to win this one. So if and only if it's your will, let him rest." Not long after that, we got a phone call. And they said, "You know how we were talking about," I can't remember the analogy. There's something I had spoken to the doctor about. And when it was looking really bad, when the glue hadn't worked, when they tried to glue him up. But he said, "Look, we're going to keep trying. We're not going to let him go. We are going to do everything." So he said, "You remember when we were talking and what, I can't remember." He said, "Yeah, I think we're at that point now. Can you and Dad come We were just crying. We woke the kids up. We went to see him. For the first time I could hold him. For the first time in 10 weeks, I could hold him. Only he was lifeless now. And I remember Rhea saying, "Mom, why is he not breathing? Why is he..." Yeah, Rhea just said, "Mom, why is he not breathing? Mom, why is he not breathing?" I just said, "He's dead." Oh. Rhea cried for a whole hour. And he hasn't cried for anyone ever since. We were all just crying. Hailey was crying. She didn't even know why she's crying. She was crying because everyone is crying. And they took us to the next room. They put him nicely. They were so amazing. They cleaned him up. They put him on the bed for us to spend time with him. They came to us. They gave us leaflets, pamphlets about what happens when a baby dies, when someone dies. And they had a book. You know, they said if we wanted, they don't know what we believe in, but there's a book about death for Rhea. I really loved the book. I felt it was more a Christian perspective of the book. Oh my days. They gave us the book. We had to register him with the council. There was quite a lot to take in, and disbelief, utter disbelief. Utter disbelief. That December, my brother was getting married. We couldn't go because Lamo was hospitalized. And my brother-in-law as well was doing a wedding. He had gotten married earlier in the year, but they were having weddings like a weekend apart, my brother and Malapo's brother. We were absent. So the news spread that my boy is in the hospital. I can't remember the dates in December, somewhere around just before Christmas. And on the 9th of January, the 8th of January, it was 5 to midnight, but it was after midnight when we got there. So he was born on Thursday, so he was Yao. And he died on a Thursday. He got ill on a Thursday. He got hospitalized on a Thursday. He was a Thursday boy, man. And he died on Thursday, the 8th of January, 8th, 9th, 2009. And that was it, guys. That was it. That was it. And that was it. It was just like a dream, a nightmare. I could not believe what was happening. I could not believe what was happening. He was gone. I had miscarried, and the pain, and that's another story for another day. But this pain was inexplainable. This pain was inexplainable. That was our little man, and today I dedicate this video to his memory. And we're all looking forward to seeing him when Jesus comes. You know, we sometimes tease Harley and say he would definitely be taller than you, Halle. So today he would be turning 11. He was 4 months old when he died. So there was a little person that we borrowed, and he was taken away. Because God knows why. We don't know why. We don't understand. We don't see why did he come if he was gonna go. But God knows. God knows. And yeah, from his death, that's when my husband started working really hard, and he went into GP training, and through his GP training, we're here in Australia today. So we don't know why things happen. We don't know why things happen. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Yeah, I'd just like to say, if you have gone through something like this, if you are going through something like this, be encouraged. Condolences. Yeah, please keep the faith. It's the pain is just no one can understand but you, and it does get better. Things never get back to normal, but they get to a different kind of normal. And a lot of times you remember your little one with a smile, but sometimes you remember them and cry. That's just what happens. But the pain does go away. So I'm planning on getting a picture of him, framing his picture. I don't have very good quality picture, but I'm gonna frame it. I'm looking for space in the house, and I just hope it don't make anybody else uncomfortable, because for us, he's part of our family. We talk about him all the time, and I've seen it somewhere else where the lady had a picture on the wall, and I was asking, who's that? I said, oh, that was so and so. She passed away. So I think there's no that's not a problem. And I'm his mom. I was, he was my child. He was here. So I want him up here on my walls as part of the family. He was here and he'll never be forgotten. And we're looking forward to seeing him again when Jesus comes. Thank you for watching. Love you. But remember that God loves you even more. And that is true. Sharp, sharp.